Hello and welcome back, Angel Babes. So yesterday I uploaded a video talking about my grocery haul, and actually wanted to I had forgotten an entire section of my groceries, like, to show you guys. So I wanted to fix that by showing you guys that now. So salmon. They don't have any skin or anything on them, which is why I like to get them rather than the fresh stuff, because it takes a lot of energy for me to get rid of the skin. Because I usually boil or bake it, and I don't like the skin. I don't like the texture of the fat. Some seasoned broccoli. I have a couple of bags of it. I have to clean out my freezer. I put orange juice in here, and it spilled all over the place. That was stupid of me. So now I gotta clean my freezer out because it's like filled with so much of this juice just everywhere. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Tilapia. More tilapia. Like I said, it's relatively cheap, and a lot of stuff was on sale yesterday, which is why I went home with as much stuff as I did. I have 2 bags of this, by the way. I'm gonna get more later on in the week. It's just they were out of stock, so that was the last 2 they had on the shelf. So I had to settle for getting some of the plain kind as well. I got 3 bags of the plain kind. I only eat the Green Giant steam and bag microwave broccoli. I won't eat any other kind. I also did get a Lean Cuisine, like little pizza meal type thing. I seem to have misplaced the packaging for it, which is fine. It had like 20 grams of 20 grams of protein. It was like packed with extra protein. That was part of the advertising on the box. Which is why I got it. It was just the plain cheese kind. I don't eat meat and cheese together. I think that's abhorrent. Oh, okay. Oh, my hands feel sticky. It's so gross. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of fix that because I didn't want it to be misleading or anyone to think that I don't get enough groceries or something. It occurred to me like that I had forgotten an entire section. I'm like, no wonder it felt like I was forgetting something. And like, I remembered buying so much, and yet in the video it felt like I completely forgot to even mention a lot of what I bought. And then there are things that I didn't buy, like canned goods that I still have a decent stock of, so I don't need to, and like soup and stuff that's in my cupboard. I clearly have a decent stock of it. I have plenty of Velveeta. I have plenty of oatmeal. I have like 3 boxes of oatmeal. And I have plenty of soup materials to make soups. So, if I run out of those, of course I would buy them. However, I would not prioritize these items because my priority items are the protein things, because that's where I struggle the most to get my necessary nutrients is protein, because I don't eat red meat. I don't eat chicken, too greasy. I eat fish. I like fish, but I only eat like 3 different kinds and under very specific circumstances for each kind. And I have those protein drinks because like I have to kind of fill that gap. I also do eat turkey when it's like particularly like lean, when there's not like a whole bunch of fat. I don't like the texture of animal fat. It makes me gag. It makes me gag. Also, I'm sorry if the lighting is really weird. Oh gosh. Okay, nope. Okay, nope. Yeah, the place is a mess. Just a little bit of clutter on my end tables. Just a little bit. Mostly tea stuff, though. I really like to have, like, tea, and I have a lot of little rules and rituals around tea that, I don't know, they make me really happy. They, like, I don't know, like, I'm autistic as hell. Structured things with rules and clear directions are, soothing to me sometimes. So going about, like, if I'm really, really, really upset, making some tea could be the thing that calms me down, because it's just the whole ritual, because I do everything in a very specific way when it comes to making tea. I go about selecting a teacup, and I make a whole big fuss about it, and I put on the kettle on the stove to boil. So yeah, I go all out when it comes to tea. I'm really crazy, but it soothes me, and it's harmless. I don't drink caffeine, so it's all herbal tea. So like chamomile, um, lavender. Oh my god, chamomile lavender is my favorite tea ever. Like the combination, beautiful. But yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of correct that issue with yesterday's haul. Um, So at this point, I would like to kind of also discuss other types of topics. So I have mentioned in the past having a sugar addiction. However, I don't think that I've ever, like, gotten into the specifics of it, or, like, how much I struggled with that and for how long. And sorry if I look like a mess. I literally just woke up. But yeah, so for like several years, as an adult, I kind of struggled. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed sugar, really, but however, it was what I was living on, because I would basically, like, scrounge up change to buy, like, boxes of snack cakes, and or just like the individual snack cakes that are sometimes sold, cereal bars, um, other stuff like that, that's nutritionally pretty empty, full of a lot of sugar, very shelf stable though. And that was the key thing. That was what I got a lot of growing up, like why I hoarded that kind of food for my stash, squirreled it away essentially, for my future self to eat, like during the summer or during like holiday breaks where away from school for long periods of time, because at home food was a little bit scarce. There were 10 people crammed into this little house. Um, and food was basically rationed in that house, with the majority of the rations going to my parents, obviously. Because, yay, why should we ever have a healthy dynamic at home? Um, but anyway, so that kind of insecurity around, like, that kind of food insecurity growing up kind of spiraled into a sugar addiction. And, so when I turned 18, when I moved out, I ate a lot of sugar for several years. Like, I wouldn't eat anything else because I craved sugar so badly. And it's so frustrating. It was so frustrating. I felt like I was fighting a losing battle with myself. Um, because it doesn't fill you up, that sugary crap. It'll save your life if your blood sugar is suddenly dropped. However, it won't make you feel satisfied. It won't make you feel full. And it won't help you. And I'm really glad to have finally gotten to a point where I have a handle on it, and it no longer can kind of run my life. Like, don't get me wrong, I've backslid. Progress is not linear. Um, However, I'm still working to kind of get past that backslide that I had, that little setback. Um, so yeah, and so when I started to try to cut the sugar, I did so in a very abrupt and very sudden sort of way. And that spiraled into several years of a binge cycle where I would binge on the sugary stuff that I was telling myself I'm not allowed to have. And because it was forbidden, I wanted it that much more. I spent money I did not want to spend on this crap, but the need to go get it was so much stronger than the need to hang on to that money. And some of the money that I spent getting this junk is literally money from my coin collection. You know how freaking mad I am at myself over that? Like, even in the moment, I was really mad at myself. And then, like, now, looking back, it's like I realized where I was going wrong. And the problem was I was trying to force myself to eat foods that I don't like the texture of, don't like the taste of, foods that I cannot stomach. I was trying to force myself to eat that. I was perpetuating a cycle that began at home. Like, my dad used to be like, hey, you have to eat this. You cannot leave the table until you have. And if it's a food that, like, because there are certain foods that immediately make me sick because of the texture or flavor. Like, they immediately make me nauseous to even think about, let alone to actually consume it. And that would include a lot of red meat. It's a texture thing, really. And like, you know, I also struggled with like the texture of like things like hot dogs and stuff. And you know, there are flavors as well. I don't like the flavor of hot dogs either. It's just so nasty. So yeah, there's like a lot of stuff that I was being forced to eat as a child that as an adult I was kind of perpetuating a similar cycle where I'd be like, okay, I'm only allowed to eat these foods. I'm not allowed to eat these ones. And by setting those rules for myself, that was actually setting myself up for failure because of the mental restriction made me want the sugar that much more. Now, how I've gotten past that, I had to basically completely stop. I had to stop making rules for myself. I had to completely break all of them. I had to break myself of that habit. I had to do this for almost a year where I just ate without thinking about what I was putting in my body. And somehow that actually kind of helped me to overcome the sugar addiction. So I was eating the sugar because I was craving it, and I stopped fighting myself on it. I was just like, fuck it. Sorry for my language. I was like, I guess I'll just consume this sugar because it's what I'm wanting, and it's better than starving. Because that's ultimately what would happen. I would, when I was trying to force myself to eat foods that my brain doesn't even see as food, I legitimately just couldn't bring myself to eat. So then I would end up in this cycle of starvation on accident because of the fact that I was trying to force myself to eat stuff that I cannot stomach, and therefore I will literally starve to death if like there could be an abundance of food in the kitchen and none of it's my safe food, and I would literally starve to death because I can't stomach any of that. Like, so it's kind of a problem. Like, most people are like, well, if you're really hungry, you'll eat anything. No, not if you have ARFID. Not if you have sensory issues. You will sooner die of starvation than eat the thing. Like, if all I had in the kitchen was hot dogs. Let's say all I had was hot dogs. That's all I have in the house to eat. I would starve. And I'm not exaggerating either. I cannot get past the texture or taste or flavor or smell. Like, I just cannot do it physically. And there's a lot of foods that are like that for me. Unfortunately, I have a lot of sensory issues that kind of comes with the autism. So once I learned what was causing this cycle, I worked on breaking it and rebuilding from the ground up a new pattern of behaviors that was healthier. Like eating when I'm hungry, but just eating what I know I can eat. Still making sure I watch my nutritional intake to make sure I'm not deficient, of course, because that can get really dangerous very quickly. I'm sorry, my mouth is really, really dry. I haven't filled my Bratz cup up yet today. But anyway, I wanted to launch straight into this video. But anyway, so once I had I want to say I had 6 months. I had half a year of semi-normalcy where I was not paying attention to what I was eating. I was not making any mental restrictions for myself regarding what I was eating. So I basically had whatever I want. So there was a lot of Doritos, a lot of Shaggy and Scooby type sandwiches with like turkey. I don't know why. I just really love turkey. Like turkey lunch meat sandwiches. They just hit just right with like sometimes. Especially after consuming cannabis. Those turkey sandwiches, beautiful. Um, Although right now I'm not really in a turkey kind of mood, so I didn't buy any. Otherwise, I would have. Uh, but anyway, so I broke the pattern by saying screw it and just eating whatever I wanted whenever I wanted, and I did this for about 6 months. And then I slowly towards the end, as I realized, okay, we're doing okay. I'm starting to normalize again with my habits. I'm starting to find myself in a place where I'm no longer desperately wanting the sugar. And that's the thing that I've implemented going forward. If I crave it, I'll eat it. Nothing is off limits. That's why I have to tell myself. Nothing is off limits. But then I'll sit there and I'll be like, but do I really want this? And I'll realize, no, I actually don't. I only wanted it because it was off limits. Now that it's no longer off limits, I don't want it anymore. I don't want that kind of sugary crap anymore. Now that I'm allowing myself to just eat my safe foods, I'm good. I'm perfectly fine now. And it's like really nice. But yeah, for half a second there, I had like a really big issue with binging on sugar. Like I actually put on quite a bit of weight back when I was doing that. I was also on a medication that also contributed, though, I'm not going to lie. Because once I stopped that medication, even with the similar behavior continuing, I still, like, the weight kind of fell off. So I think most of it was a medication side effect that most of the weight went on. Um, Let me tell you, I will never again go on a medication with weight gain as a side effect. I'm sorry, but the way that it made my body feel physically, the way that I felt tired, I felt sick like all the time. My body always hurt. Like it always hurts now, but it was so much worse back then. And I just can't go back to that. I really can't. So that's why I had to implement changes and change my habits around so extensively. But anyway, I hope that this wasn't too disorganized or rambly. I hope that this is helpful to anyone out there. Um, I'm going to leave just a few last notes here at the end. One, it takes one time to break a cycle. One time. The pathway in your brain is reinforced every time you commit to the cycle. The moment you break it, you allow the path to start to become less traveled. And by stopping the reinforcement of the cycle, it becomes easier to resist the cycle. It becomes easier to resist a binge. And with time, eventually that urge does go away. So oftentimes to break the cycle, you just need once. But you can't let yourself slip into the mindset of, I did so good, I deserve to treat myself, and then proceed to, break every single, habit that you were just trying to build, like every positive habit that you were just trying to build. And backsliding is not the end of the world. It doesn't mean you can choose any moment to stop a binge, and just because the urge is there doesn't mean you have to act on it. I can have the urge to shave my head bald. That thought can cross my mind, but it doesn't mean I have to do it. I like my hair. I work too hard on this. The urge passes and I tell it to shove off. But yeah, so like I said, consistency is really important. It takes once to break a cycle. And it does get easier the more that you say no and resist binging. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Comment, like, subscribe, what have you. Have a very lovely day. See you around, Angel Babes.